Should I? I'm going to talk absentmindedly while we figure out our levels. My name is Tom Drightline. Really good to be here. We're just figuring out some levels. I'm going to keep talking mindlessly. Hopefully after this there'll be less mindless talking, more intentional talking. Intentional talking is what I like to do. Very cool. All right, we're called Pink, and we're really excited to be here, and we're going to do some poems and some music and some equals. I was 17 when my brakes failed at the top of the steepest hill in my hometown. I was 17 when the semi came screaming through the intersection. When I woke up, I was in some stranger's front yard, sirens and hands flooded into the wreck. I remember how quiet it was. You know, on the way down, I turned off my radio. I don't know why, I guess I didn't want my ending crowded with static. Anyway, I turned it off. And it was so quiet. All I could hear was my car idle and cut through the afternoon. I was 21 when I found myself at the top of the same slope. 2 a.m. and pouring summer rain, and I realized I missed that feeling. The simplicity. How all I knew was reckless motion. Nothing mattered but momentum and the way I felt like I was falling, you know. I was 21 when my youth leader told me of thin moments. He said they are the instances in which you feel closest to the divine. That we are confused so easily with the extra. The clouded air we wander through said churches and sermons are like great big ceiling fans. That they pull the water weight off of you. So I went searching for my thin moment. I looked everywhere. Churches, stages, bottles, bedrooms. I was 20 when my friend told me he met death. Said he wandered lucid through a dream and reality was fluid there. Like he was walking upstream, and if he wanted to, he could make the sun rise, like cupping water in his hand and tossing it into the sky. And then he came across a girl, waiting for him. He said she was realer than him, you know, denser, a rock stuck at the bottom of the riverbed. She told him things he couldn't know, like he walked into granite and learned how his bones creaked, felt the roots of his family rotting. And the next week his grandma was diagnosed with cancer. I was 21 when I found my thin moment. I was 21 and I wanted to fall again, and it was so dark no one would know, so I just fell down the hill and I felt it. For a second I felt metal and plastic disassemble. Some nights I don't think we can be enough. You know, the ones where you open yourself and see nothing inside but rock. The ones where all the windows are stuck open and it's raining, and your bed is a boat full of holes, so you sink and the water is so cold, it gives you goosebumps, it's so cold. You know, on those nights, I want to fall again. I'd rather drown than sleep and it's fuzzy. But I think I got in my car and drove 60 down a hill, up the thickest river. I think I saw a boulder waiting for me in the intersection. I think I wanted to spread myself thin across the rock, taunting me at the bottom of the riverbed. You know? And then I would be the thin moment. I think I hit the brakes. And everything was thick again. Clouded air came back to my car. And the light turned green. You know? So I drove away. boy sits by the ocean in the stones he's been given. Family is a white bird stuck on the strings of his stomach. It jerks the curve of his back, steep, and asks him to heave again. Another night of history lessons. His fingers scrape the nightstand and grab his birth certificate. He reaches in himself and plucks the weathers of the things, rolls them tight and lights them, draws deep. He looks up, and the quarry is splitting slowly. Each draw pulls the cracks through another inch. Another inch they are on his skin. They are creeping up his whittled spine, the cracks spread into his pupils, and all the pillars slumping into the sea fraction. And he can see there how each tradition is to its own brittle prison. Another inch, and his skull splits. Chips scraping against his scalp before they fall. Boy loves the dust this brings. How his past built him here. How it will crumble him all the same. It's our first show ever, so thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks to the band for hosting us. We have three more things for you. Poems. When you walked in the door, my heart decided to pump crude oil to my fingertips in the hopes that you wouldn't stick this time. When your eyes fell on mine, we both broke. Your stare cracked me back open, split the 2x4s I had nailed across my chest, and I saw you. Eyeliner turned saltwater, I saw you break too. Could see it in your skin, see you tense up and release. Give up on climbing out of that hole we dug for ourselves, you let go. So that night we fell back into each other, pouring down waterways dried with our old handprints as we stirred, dancing around parts of us covered in dust. Your smiles and sighs rushed back to me, grabbed on the heartstrings, played notes I hadn't heard in months, and maybe I just missed the music we used to make. So I let you back in. The sound of rushing ocean to my chest cavity, a symphony of waves crashing against sheet metal and oil, sifting through sand, a night of murky water. The sunrise cut through the fog of lust, dried out the shores of our bodies. I woke and found your kiss eating away at the scraps of my neck, a puddle of salted memories pooling, seeping into the cracks of my piecemeal logic, eating away at my rib cage from the inside out. I realized these holes we left, they cannot be filled. Not anymore, so my back is rotted, rusty, and slick. So when you poured through my chest, you just broke out the other side. I tried to patch up the gaps, grab onto the edges and hold tight. Convince myself this makeshift music box was just noise, just commotion. And it was. But it meant something. It meant salt water and old wounds, the sting of memories against my stomach, every exhale tainted by the stink of sulfur on my tongue, blood boiling from the friction of your damp and tear-soaked skin. And you might have caught yourself on some of these jagged edges I picked up along the way. Our melody in minor key, your grid lodged and cogs tightening the violin strings between us until they snapped. But that night, I did not fall asleep. I passed out, drowning in the grinding of salted gears and oiled brake pedals. We always stirred well. When everything settles, you and I will separate. Opaque water is sliding back from silver shores, and I'll wake up next to nothing. Thank you. So that was on the sampler. Thank you so much for having us on the show for Matt. That was awesome. The sampler is the reason we're doing that thing, so thank you for having us. Two more poems for you guys. This next one I wrote in the garage of the sink. The sink is a really important place to me for a lot of reasons. And so yeah, I wrote this one night after a show. And here's the poem. Poems for Blake. There are ghosts in the smoke tonight. They swim through it, speaking some dead language, Morse code in 360 spun through the ether. I see them in the smoke, and the way they fight through it toward the ground, failing pulled instead to the rafters of my friend's garage. A pool of strangers sleep on the other side of the drywall, and here I am, watching these whispers coat the ceiling and disappear. Tonight, I am searching for a boy. I can see him still on the sideline with me. I can hear that stopwatch set on his heartbeat, so I exhale into the empty seat across the room. Nothing. He won't come tonight. And why would he? He's just a boy. The one who stood and kept me company through practices. The sun beat down on us like falling desert sand, sideline the bottom of an hourglass where he waited. As we all did. For the sand to finally scrub his bones clean before the cancer did. And isn't it funny? It is not incense that mourns him at my side. Instead, it's this cigarette. Like maybe all it took was the smell of that looming tumor for him to come by again and sit and talk with me like we used to on the sideline until the day they lit the hill by the practice field. Hundreds of candles, I, just another boy in a sea of children convinced there would not be the next to drown, and then a day had passed. And the chair was empty, still. Butts like spent shells littered around me, my throne, a rusted thing, and still I did not give up. Each exhale a prayer that maybe he would confuse this ash for sand, for the hot desert he used to wade through. He only swept it off his cleats when we rode in his father's car to get pizza down the street. I swear he pushed us to 80 before we left the parking lot. Just a joyride for a few seconds before all the eyes in the room burned into him. A river of tears pooling at the window of the pizza shop, and what an act of treachery. To steal a boy's right to be unseen. He will not come tonight. The air stale with these fleeting memories. He must know. He must know how when I wept, all that came out was this broken elegy, this pathetic admittance that I too was just a boy then, concerned with more pressing matters than mortality, namely a starting spot on the football team. I can't tell you the last moment we shared. I wouldn't even know how to make it up if asked. If asked, I think I might just say it was his foot to the floor, clean of the earth that pulled him, 80 miles an hour, with no eyes on him but mine. Me. I got one more, and it's a happy one, thank God, right? I know, yeah.
Another heavy one.
Anyway, so yeah, the Sank is a really important place to me. In 7th grade, I went and hung out in Dylan Bassey's basement, in a finished room in his basement, and we started calling it the Sanctuary, and then we shortened it to the Sank, and then like 4 years after that, he, 5, 6, I don't know, moved out to this place, and we called it the Sank, and so this is like my home, and I've seen so many people play here, and this is the first time I've had the privilege of performing, so thank you guys so much for... Thank you, Dylan, for showing up to the shows, and thank you so much, Matt, for having us Blendfest! Blendfest! So yeah, this is a poem about a kind of experience that I have a lot at the Sank. I didn't write it about the Sank, I wrote it about a rooftop in Buffalo, but...
Go ahead, poet!
Thank you, Dylan. But it's about, I think it's something that I feel a lot here, and I'm just really happy to end on a happy poem. So, thank you guys so much. At least for now, Letterkenny cracks up from the vinyl, and the night outside is held at bay. And new words come rushing from under the door, they fill the room and crowd our heads. It's April. It's 60 degrees outside and 3 bodies swell together in a bedroom in the Heights. The snare and kick pound the weak out of our heads. Replace the space with dreams only the young and searching can dream. The 40s in our hands are like microphones. Someday fairy tales slip out of our lips, and for a moment, we're in Portland. It's raining. It's coffee, and the West Coast is draped across her like a plaid shirt with the top button. She swings again, and the coast fades. So I let some days drip from my lips first. They're full of theaters spread across the country. My name thrown shining into the night. They're full of paychecks and sunsets. Then these dreams too splash on the century-old wood, disappear into the pores. I look up, and suddenly my some days are only nights like this. Nothing else, and I am given a gift. For once, I know what I have when I am still holding it, cold and sweet in my hands. At least for now, nostalgia's useless. I'm here. The 40s half gone, they sink into us. They let us sing words like love, with all the chains and locks and tears this time. This time, love is a hot room and a cold 40 and a loudspeaker. Family is anybody that knows all the words to track 5, and I don't. Yet. But I'm learning. And isn't that what 20 is? Knowing nothing and loving anyway. Giving and giving, and at least for now, thank you is the way he dances. Awkward. How music moves him without apology. All hip shake and pointed up while he climbs the desk. Hand on the ceiling, throwing his melody into this monument to movement we've made out of the parts of ourselves we are told to keep quiet. Emotionless. Wearing sweat. We open up a window praying for a draft. And as the breeze sweeps through the room, we finally know this night can't hold us in 4 walls and hardwood. Even if we beat here hot like a young heart, so we climb out the window, bare feet on shingles, and the night is on us like wings, and guitar howls out the window, so we call along with it. We dance. We dance. We dance until the record stops. We sit by the window on the roof. We swig what is left of the night and swap jokes and tell stories like this one. Stories where we don't need hindsight. Stories where the streetlights lay the whole neighborhood in gold, and we know shingles and bottles and speakers are enough. At least for now. Thank you. Next up is Foster Parents, and then